Netflix viewers flexing their investigative muscles.
To give us a call so we can come investigate.
Finding a girl who went missing 6 years ago. Neighbors accused of poisoning.
Paws on my property, I'm going to blow their brains out.
In the death of a family dog. The Marlins taking on the last place team in their division.
Segura's in, here comes Burdick.
Hoping to get back to 500. And a little league catcher caught up in a dust devil.
Oh, I hurt my breath.
These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Kelly Sanchez.
And I am Paloma Pimentel. Today is Wednesday, May 17th, 2023.
Live from the FIU Lee Kaplan School of Journalism and Media, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
A girl who was the subject of an episode of Unsolved Mysteries gets returned home after she was missing for years. This morning, a missing girl featured on the Netflix reboot of the series is back home with her father after 6 years apart.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says someone spotted Kayla Onbahan in Asheville, North Carolina. A store employee recognized her thanks to media coverage of her disappearance. The Asheville, North Carolina Police Department stressed the importance for people to come forward if they suspect they recognize a missing person.
It is unusual, but it's good that when someone does suspect that they recognize someone, no matter how old the story might be, that they are not afraid to give us a call so we can come investigate.
Kayla's non-custodial mother, Heather Onbahan, is charged with abducting her to North Carolina when she was 9 years old. Bond is set at $250,000, and the 40-year-old faces extradition to Illinois.
Top congressional leaders met with the White House this week. The topic was the U.S. debt limit. As CNN's John Lawrence reports, the president now believes there is a path to a bipartisan agreement.
Discussions about the U.S. debt ceiling are moving like highway traffic on a holiday weekend.
There's a high chance that the government could shut down. We don't know for how long. So my smartest clients right now are already thinking about that. They're putting cash away. They are making sure that they've got either credit lines or financing available.
President Joe Biden is expected to meet again with top congressional leaders, including House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, Tuesday for another meeting on the matter. This comes as Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen issued another warning that the U.S. could potentially breach on its debt as soon as June 1st.
Default must be taken off the table. Never in the history of our country have we failed to pay our bills on time. To default now would mean crossing a terrible point of no return.
While the Biden White House wants the spending cap boosted with no strings attached, McCarthy and House Republicans are willing to raise it $1.5 trillion, but with cuts to some domestic programs. And so far, neither side is willing to budge.
We're only a couple of weeks away, and if you look at the timeline to pass something in the House and pass something in the Senate, you've got to have something done by this weekend, and we are nowhere near any of that.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Treasury Secretary Yellen is scheduled to meet with bank CEOs tomorrow, and their discussions are expected to include the debt ceiling and the banking crisis.
President Biden is traveling to Asia for a short and overseas trip. Biden heads to Japan to meet for this year's G7 summit and to strengthen American alliances with Asian countries. But due to the U.S. debt standoff, the president has canceled his arrivals to Australia and Papua New Guinea in order to deal with the situation at home. Biden spoke with the Australian Prime Minister and has invited him to the United States for a state visit in the future.
Today, Florida is preparing to deploy more than 1,000 troops and assets to Texas to help defend the southern border following the expiration of Title 42. Yesterday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declared that the state will send Highway Patrol troopers, law enforcement officers, National Guard soldiers, and assets such as drones to help limit the influx of migrants at the border. After the announcement, the governor traveled to South Florida to sign a pair of bills on human trafficking.
Also signed Senate Bill 18. Also signed Senate Bill 1808 to fight illegal immigration and require law enforcement to work with ICE to enforce federal immigration laws. Obviously, this administration doesn't want to do that.
In the days following the expiration of Title 42, the southern border and U.S. cities saw a smaller influx of migrants than was expected.
A couple believes this morning that the mystery of their family pet's death has been solved. And as the network's Carlos Carrillo reports, they blame the people who live next door to their home near Raleigh, North Carolina.
A shallow grave marked by a cross sits atop Phil and Jessica Ridley's lawn.
Last July, the first dog, Brown, got really bad ill.
Big Brown died last July. Cause of death, according to vets, acute kidney infection caused by possible antifreeze poisoning.
It's traumatizing when you have a dog that is so loving and caring 1 minute and then 12 hours later he can't get up.
Fast forward to this Sunday, their new Newfoundland was rushed to the vet. She died from suspected poisoning, according to these vet records.
It happened so fast.
And on Monday, their other dog, Scruffy, landed in the hospital, another case of suspected poisoning.
This is our whole family. Like, they have destroyed our family.
Scruffy luckily survived, but for more than a year, the Ridleys have long suspected that their neighbors on Derby Lane, James and Agnes Goldston, poisoned their dog. They think with squirrels.
He either baited them, was baiting them, or they got into the squirrels he was poisoning.
The Goldston have long been vocal about their distaste for the Ridleys' yard and this driveway they're putting in for months. The Ridley say they've received threatening letters like this one.
If one or both of these dogs put their paws on my property, I'm going to blow their brains out.
The couple in their 70s were arrested last night, charged with 3 counts each of animal cruelty, stemming from alleged poisoning and killing of the dogs, as well as communicating threats. The warrant even shows that the Goldston are accused of threatening the Ridley's daughter, stating, "Your daughter is next. Be careful."
And we've cried so much, it's like, I don't think I got any more tears left. I mean, I'm just waiting to wake up from a nightmare.
Carlos Carrillo, South Florida Media Network.
After bonding out of jail Sunday night, James and Agnes Goldston were ordered to have no contact with the Ridley family.
A bald eagle gave a couple quite the fright when it crashed into their home. It was this week near Seattle.
Boom,
Steve
crash,
Hyatt
and
and
it
his
sounds
wife
like
Jess rushed upstairs after they heard what they
and then
thought someone breaking
had
in.
blown right through
They were
their living
surprised
room
to
window,
find that a
spraying
bald
glass.
eagle had blown through their window, spraying glass in their living room. They called authorities, but minutes later they heard more crashing and watched as the eagle flew back outside.
The Marlins got down to their last batter in the bottom of the 9th with the game on the line.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
I was scared.
Excitement unrelated to the score at a Little League baseball tournament here in Florida. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort
to get to know each other
on a deeper level. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
right away, a Little League game here in Florida gets interrupted by a dust devil, which catches the kids playing catcher off guard. After a dust devil engulfed a player, a quick-thinking teen stepped in to save the boy.
As reporter Khalil Maycock tells us, the scary scene played out at a baseball tournament in Jacksonville over the weekend.
A seemingly normal tournament on this baseball field quickly turned into something else.
That is cold right there.
Within seconds, the wind started picking up and a dust devil formed. It quickly engulfed 7-year-old Bauer Zoya.
I couldn't breathe that much, so I held my breath. And I feel like I couldn't touch the ground, so I kind of lifted up a little bit.
Even though Zoya was only in the dust devil for a few seconds, he says it felt like he was in there for 10 minutes.
And I was scared, and I got afraid if someone would pull me out.
The person who did end up coming to Zoya's rescue was 17-year-old Aiden Wiles, the umpire.
I was worried about his safety because when I got taught, the player's safety is always the first thing.
Wiles says although he was initially a little afraid, he knew it was best for him to put his fear aside. The Dust Devil happened in the second game of a 3-game tournament at Fort Caroline. Zoya says the dust didn't stop him from continuing to play. His dad poured water on him to get the dirt out of his eyes, and then he went back in the game. And he believes what he went through helped him play better.
I caught one, and it was so high, and my dad said up, and then I caught it.
And while Zoya is happy it helped him play better, his dad is just glad Wiles had quick thinking and stepped in to help his son.
As a 16-year-old kid that just had the presence of mind just to do that, and it was pretty special to see. It was pretty cool to see yesterday. So he had obviously great parents raising that young man.
That was Khalil Maycock from WJXT. Even though Bauer Zoya and his team did not take the top spot in the tournament, he still feels like a winner for having survived the experience.
The walk-off home run is the most exciting play in baseball because when the home team takes the lead in the bottom of the 9th inning, it automatically ends the game. Keep that in mind as we take you to the final batter in last night's game between the Washington Nationals and the Marlins at Lone Depot Park. 2 outs, 2 strikes, and the Fish are on their final batter. Jorge Soler, with 1 swing, he ends the game. Final score, Washington 4, Marlins 5. The win puts the Marlins at 21-21 for the season. The same 2 teams play again tonight at 6:40. You're watching SFMN Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
Really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes.
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Pantotech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I am Paloma Pimentel.
I'm Kelly Sanchez. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.